All right, first things first, though, we want to take a look at what's going on in the Kareem Hunt situation and how that came down. Yesterday, just kind of a regular day around here around the office, and all heck broke loose, and I didn't like it then, and 24 hours later, I don't like it anymore.
Les, I think the hard thing is, do you believe that Kareem Hunt should play in the NFL again? Or do you think maybe he never should be allowed to play in the NFL ever again?
I'd like him to be a little more contrite, or at least fake it.
I think if you believe...
The answer is yes, I do believe he should be in the NFL.
And I talked to an expert on this stuff, a woman who had written a 100-page paper on the NFL and its dealings with players who had dealt with violence with women. If you think that he should be back in the NFL at some point, then we're just talking timing and logistics and semantics and geography. So if you're someone who says, that's it, I'm done with him, he should never play again, no one's going to change your mind on that, and that's fine. If you think maybe I can see a way for this guy to be remorseful, for the team around him to do it right, then we're talking about holding people accountable. And I think you have to hold Kareem Hunt accountable going forward. You have to hold the Browns accountable going forward. But I think if you're open to that, then you're open to that.
We're sitting in Cleveland, Ohio. Let's take the same show in St. Louis doesn't have a franchise. Kansas City. Do you think the poll numbers would be different?
It feels like Browns fans are very split on this, right? So
yeah, but more in favor of, it's okay, he deserves a second chance.
I think... I don't know. I mean, it's our sports world, Les. It's the NFL world, but it's our sports world, and it's always been this way. And so when you see, I mean, it does feel like people want to give this guy a chance. And of course, he's going to get more of a chance because he's a good player. Of course we know that.
Well, let's take a look at this. Is this a good move or not? This is a cleveland.com poll. Do you think he deserves a second chance? Look at the numbers. Anything shock you there?
So, I mean, basically 2/3 are saying give him a shot. So, only 9% are saying he doesn't deserve to be back in the NFL at all. I think it certainly is about who your team is, but you have to be able to separate yourself from your team a little bit. If you think he deserves a shot, then why not the Browns? I know there's certainly an opinion that would be, yeah, he can have a job, just not here, just not with my team. But if it's good for somebody else, then why wouldn't it be good for Cleveland? And a point I made in my column on cleveland.com yesterday, the Browns have made a lot of desperate moves like this. Let's sign a guy out of desperation and see what happens.
Right.
They're not desperate. This should be a move. If they're doing this, it's more of a move of confidence. We think we can get this right with this guy. So maybe that puts you in a better spot to do it right, but then we all have to hold them accountable. If you're going to do this, it's not lip service. Do it right.
Do you think they learned something from Josh Gordon?
I don't know. And that's I think that's a hard situation in things like this because we always, all of us, often sort of talk about off-field situations, right? Josh Gordon in the end was really sort of hurting himself, right, more than anybody else.
Right, he didn't hurt anybody else.
He didn't hurt anybody else. So you wanted to give Josh Gordon a chance because maybe he can get it straight.
That's easier to do.
That is easier to do. You want to give a person like that the benefit of the doubt. They're self-destructive. Kareem Hunt hurt somebody else. So I think that you have to take this even more seriously. Did they learn from Josh Gordon? I don't know. There were so many different people in charge while Josh Gordon was here. I don't know that anybody learned anything.
All right. So you have this situation come up. We know Dee Haslam is on the committee, whatever that committee is. I haven't heard from her. Have you? She didn't call me.
Not yet. No, not yet. No call.
Do you think we need to hear from her as an NFL person, and we need to hear from Jimmy Haslam? I'll tell you what. John Dorsey looked so uncomfortable yesterday. He said he was appalled by the video and all that stuff. Either he didn't get the talking points right, or he knew he wasn't telling the right thing out there.
I think it's important to make sure in a situation like this, we're not suggesting that anyone use Dee Haslam as a prop. Yes,
no, it's got to be the real deal.
She is more educated in this realm of things because she's on that committee. But you can't just trot out a woman and say, well, a woman says it's okay, so we're okay with this. The men of this organization have to be able to speak about this intelligently, sympathetically, and John Dorsey needs to do a better job in that situation.
All right, here's my problem. I have a daughter now. She's a football fan and all, and that's fine. But I have a granddaughter. and we'll bring her up as a Cleveland Browns fan. But I have trouble if Kareem Hunt represents the Cleveland Browns, as do 54 others or whatever that number is. I don't know how I explain it to her. How do you explain it? If you have a daughter, how do you explain it to her?
There's a lot of things, I think, in modern sports that we can't explain to our kids. A lot of it doesn't make sense. A lot of it isn't moral. A lot of it isn't ethical sometimes. That's our sports world. It doesn't excuse this. And I think the last thing anybody wants to do is start comparing, well, our players' transgressions aren't as bad as your players' transgressions.
No.
That guy did this guy. Guys have done worse. Guys have done worse. That's true. It doesn't excuse anything. But I think in a world, it does matter how the Browns do this. You have to put structures in place. You have to make sure he is doing things off the field. He is going to counseling. He is understanding his anger issues. You can't just hand him the ball, say, he said he's sorry, and you're done with that. And I think we all now have to hold the Browns accountable to that. What are you doing, Kareem Hunt, to make yourself better so it doesn't happen again? If you do that, then I think maybe we can take this second chance and think that it's real and it's something more than this guy can score touchdowns.